Store closings are accelerating. I've done some videos in the past on the retail apocalypse, and ladies and gentlemen, it has not stopped. It really is still going on, even though we're in the climate that we see now. So, this comes out on seekingalpha.com. The retail apocalypse is accelerating, so nothing has changed. And right now in this country, more stores are closing than opening. And 2020 is expected to be an above average year for store closing. So they're looking to close 15,000 or more stores in the country. And of course, there are all kinds of cash flow problems, especially if a store was not considered essential, like a supermarket or something like that. Much has been said about the so-called retail apocalypse in the past, a term that described the presumed death of brick and mortar retail, primarily centered around shopping malls. In reality, not all brick and mortar retail is created equal. Yeah, so it's true that some segments are struggling and other segments are doing well. Okay, so CV, of course, has led to the acceleration in problems for the already struggling players, but stronger segments of the brick and mortar industry will likely recover quickly following the current crisis and should continue to do well in the long term. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. It's really hard to talk about what's going to return to normal because we're not in that situation where everybody is able to go back to their jobs. So saying that to me is speculating. We don't know how this is going to unfold. And personally, I don't believe we're going to go back to things being the same. Now that we have been pretty much in this home confinement, people are going to look at spending their money very differently now. They're not going to be out here splurging like they did before. A lot of these businesses will have to close because people are going to look and say, you know what? I don't need anything from that store. I can live without that store. And I think the businesses that are essential, they will continue to do well. But some of these stores that just have typical items, clothing, shoes, and stuff like that, I don't believe many of them are going to survive. Not unless they have a really good specialty type of store. If they don't have something like that, I just can't see how many of them are going to survive out here. The retail apocalypse is a term that has often been used during the last couple of years. For example, the term is even its own Wikipedia page. When we look at the actual number of store closures and store openings, we see that it's not really a well-fitting term to describe the trends we have seen over the last couple of years. During 2019, retailers closed 9,300 stores, while at the same time, 4,500 new stores were open. On a net basis, this still means that the number of total retail stores in operation has declined, but store closures were at least partially offset by the expansion of other retailers. Expanding retailers, the stores that are being closed and stores that are being open are not the same, though rather there are different sectors of the vast brick and mortar retail industry that are moving in opposite directions. Sectors that are expanding their footprint include the following ones. Both Dollar General and Dollar Tree have performed very well over the last couple of decades, reporting steadily growing revenue. The revenue growth was partially achieved through same store sale growth, but they have also increased their store count. Dollar General alone plans to open a whopping 1,000 new stores this year. Retailers that sell a wide range of products, such as department stores, having problems competing with online competitors, but other retailers that have a more narrow focus and that specialize in a smaller area can be quite successful. Beauty retail Ulta and especially Tractor Supply. Yeah, that is a specialty store right there. For example, have expanded rapidly over the last decade thanks to addressing the customer needs with products where in person counsel is more important than selling a shirt or similar product. Yeah. It seems likely that business models that have a similar approach, where in store experience is favorable to online shopping due to a more complicated product, will continue to do well in the future. Online retailers, for some, it may be a surprise, but online retailers are not pulling away sales from brick and mortar retailers. They surely do this in case, but many of the online retailers have started to establish themselves with their own real world retail footprints as well. Amazon, for example, has not only brought out Whole Foods, but it has opened its own Amazon Go retail concept. On top of that, other online retailers such as Casper are following a similar concept of moving from pure online to a mix of online and brick and mortar retail. In China, e commerce retailer JD.com has embarked on a mass expansion spree that will see it opening hundreds of JD experience shops, and something similar could happen in the US as well. Well, we shall see. Right now the US can't do very much. We got a lot of limitations out here, so to be talking like that, I'm not so sure about that. You know, if we're not even past this stage of CV. So we have no idea what's going to happen in the fall. People may have to retreat if we are, let's say, for example, in the hotter weather when this thing, if it subsides, because we don't know that 100%, then people may be able to venture out and possibly go back to work. But when the fall comes and this thing hits again, you're going to be in the same boat that you're in now. How is that better? That's not better. So I just think people need to face the fact that this is not going to be a profitable year for the vast majority of the businesses in the country. It's just not going to be a profitable year. So, and I still do believe that recession is definitely coming. Okay. On the other hand, there obviously are also segments of the brick and mortar retail world that are declining. Those particularly include non specialized retailers that sell products that can easily be bought online, such as apparel and books. It's not surprising to see, retailers like Sears, Macy, Kohl's, L Brand, Gap, Nordstrom, American Eagle have massively underperformed the broad market over the last decade. All of them have dropped by at least 50% during the last 10 years, despite the fact that the last 10 years actually were quite good for equity markets and the overall economy due to the fact that their products are easily sold online. Pressures on their business model are not surprising. And it seems reasonable to assume that these companies and many of its peers will rather shrink their store count than expand it in the future. It does not mean they will go bankrupt or be bad investments. Well, I'm not sure about that and what we're dealing with. I mean, it's easier said than done. There are also retailers that are not expanding their asset footprints at a very significant pace and that are not operating strong business models where risk from online competition are not very large and where ongoing same store sale growth allows for steadily rising profits. Retail giants such as Home Depot, Lowe's, Walmart, or Target have been strong performers over the last decade, delivering total returns of 140 to 640%. Wow. Over the last 10 years. Yeah, well, those are stores that people consider you can go in there and get many things. And those retailers have very large stores, and we're all familiar with those stores. They're very large and have many products people can get right away, opposed to ordering it online. They are not growing their store count massively, but rising same store sales, solid profitability, business models that are not affected a lot by Amazon and company. And strong shareholder payouts have allowed them to deliver strong returns despite not growing their store footprint a lot. They can be described as winners in the retail industry. And yet their success and strong investment performance are not reflected in the number of store openings and closings that we see regularly. So I think that because of what's going on, I can see this thing being beyond 15,000 stores closing. I really can. And, because there's not a lot of profit going on out here, I think that bankruptcies in 2020 will also increase for this. So it has definitely weakened the business market big time in this country. You know, like I said, I heard Wall Street had a terrible day, and it was like the early part of March. I never in my life heard corporations come out and say they weren't going to make any money this year. That was the first time in my life I ever heard that from multiple corporations in this country. So we shall see, ladies and gentlemen, as we remain in this sit at home policy that's going on in many states in the land, we shall see. But I just don't see how, if things don't shift, that these businesses won't go out. And just some of them will have to close some of their stores if things don't go back, which I don't think it will. I don't think things will ever be the same in America. I mean, this is my opinion. I don't think things will ever be the same. And I think this virus will be here for good. And it's going to keep coming back every year. Please tell me what you think, ladies and gentlemen. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.